Hey, is that cider maker crying?
I've had fresher Tapache. Reverend. I'm just back from Mexico, don't you know? That's where I holiday.
Yeah, she didn't even drink it. She just smelled it and vomited.
Please, for the love of God, tell me that you found a kangaroo and you milked it. Everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gabriel Cook, along with the wonderful Martin Goodwin-Sharman, Grant Hutchison, and producer Scott. Coming up a bit later on the show, we'll be chatting with an American cider maker that's really pushing the limits of what we think about cider, and we'll see how Grant feels about that. We'll also be diving into the news, and there will be a little bit of fun from my brain later on as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Stay tuned for that one, everyone. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen.
It just sounds
Crikey
like
Moses.
You're guessing. Maybe some fun from my brain.
I mean, like your brain took over there and just decided what I was going to say.
There will be fun. Fun will be had.
Oh, God.
Oh my. Well, but first, before we get on to the amazing Gabe's Brain game, maybe something is already on the brain because, dear listeners, this might be my last show for a little bit. Not sure. We'll have to wait and see exactly what happens because something very momentous is going to happen. No, I'm not going to be forming a cider supergroup with Tom Oliver, Little Pomona, and Ross and White Cider. That would be pretty awesome to form like a mega band, but that'll have to wait for another day. No, the good news is that I am very imminently about to become a dad, which is exceptionally exciting, slightly terrifying. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely Jules she's actually a couple of days overdue, so which apparently is quite common with the first child. So
I mean, how you got a pass to do this, I have no idea.
Right. So she may have a baby right now. So I am sitting drinking cider with the boys.
I mean, I think it says several things. What a wonderful partner I am, and she loves and trusts me. Jules' own personal contribution to cider is exceptional, and she's in bed already, to be honest. So it doesn't really make a lot of difference. As long as I don't drink too much cider, I'll be having only sips this evening because I'm on constant driving alert. We live half an hour from the hospital, so if needed, if called upon, Gabe's excellent driving services will be there, untainted by alcohol. So yeah, exciting. Grant, is it going to be okay? Just tell me that.
Responsibilities on you.
Yeah. Yes, Gabe. Everything.
You took a little bit too long to say yes to my liking.
No, that was the internet.
Could have been a little
delay.
bit quicker.
There's a delay with the internet.
Oh, the old internet job. Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be fantastic, Dad. You're going to be brilliant. And what a cider education that child is going to have. Oh my.
Oh gosh, the little one. What she won't know. It's going to be a girl, by the way. So I'm going to be a popper to a girl. What she doesn't know about cider is not going to be worth knowing.
But I would say over the next, however many days you have left, really, really enjoy the hours when you're sleeping.
Yes. Just have actually got some really good sleeps in. Me personally, Jules has been obviously because the nature. It's been a great lesson in physiology. This pregnancy and going to the classes and stuff. There was a cross section. We went to an NCT class, like an antenatal class, and we went to and one of the exercises you were handed. A cross section of a pregnant woman, and we had to sort of point out all the various parts of the anatomy, and we were like, what's that small sort of envelope thing down the bottom there. Oh, that's the bladder that's being squished between the baby's head and the pubic bone. It's like, ooh. Yeah, no wonder many wees are needed when there's very low capacity in the tank. So I've been sleeping through the night quite happily. Jules, a little bit less so. But we have been making the most of this time. We've been to the cinema twice. We've only been to the cinema once together in the 2.5 years that we've known each other. So we've been twice in 2 days or 3 days. Jurassic World Dominion, not very good, but very cinema, which was kind of enjoyable. And then Top Gun Maverick, which I have to say was quite a good movie. I've got to say. Not even sort of in a cliched kind of way.
Agreed.
Those are two pretty bombastic films there.
For a pregnant woman ready to go.
Trying to scream this baby out.
Well, pretty much. Like by hook or by crook, this babe's going to come out, and that's a good way to come out to Harold Faltermeyer's Top Gun theme tune. I mean, that's a song. Come on, baby.
Sula was born to the dulcet tones of Prince. Gold. Well, I think that was one of the tunes he did as the artist, or the Sign. Maybe he was the Sign at that time. But
Taff Cap.
Taff Cap. Yeah. Taps off. So yeah, maybe think about what song you want played, because it might come up.
Sure. Okay. Are you saying that Harold Faltermeyer's Top Gun theme tune isn't an appropriate tune to bring my daughter into the world?
I would have a few, just because in case unless you're happy to play that on repeat.
I see.
Have a bit of a playlist going and then be like, right, no, pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger.
How long was she in labour? Actually, 3 minutes 42 seconds. It was really lucked out.
Oh, goodness me. So there we go. All that joy and bonkersness to look forward to. So if I am called away on special duty, team, you'll have to soldier on without me, but something tells me you will do just fine. So there we go. That's what's been happening in my world. What's been happening with you chaps since we last saw? Martin, where have you been? What have you been up to?
Mexico. Yeah, Mexico, baby. It was amazing.
Mexico, baby.
It was so good, and genuinely we're saving up now to go as soon as possible again. Wow. Judging by the rate of inflation, I'll be there for my retirement. So the only story, I'll make it quick though, is it was all amazing except one day where we went to the bioluminescence. The pictures online look like an aquatic version of the Northern Lights, where you basically agitate the algae and they glow naturally. It looks gorgeous. Now, when we got it booked for us by the front desk of where we're staying, and guy picked us up, drove for an hour, and then we got on this little boat for an hour and a half with this guy who didn't speak English, and we didn't know what was happening. And we pull up to this tent in this water that stinks like human ass. And he's just going, "Arroka baba," and you're like, "I don't know what you mean." And he's like trying to push us in the water. Like, here now, health and safety on this one, boys. But we get in the water, and it's us and there's about 7 Mexican people on the tour. And we get in the water, and Hannah's upset. She's vegan, so she was like, "It's because they're living. Like, if I eat them, is there going to be a problem?" I was like, "Ma'am, please stop eating the algae. Like, stop it." But she didn't. We clapped it. Nothing really happened, and it was the biggest waste of time you've ever had. I thought it was going to come out and like slap us in the face with how glowing it would be. So we get on the boat again, and Hannah's a bit annoyed, and we're just riding back, and I just hear this. And Hannah screams, and I'm like, "What is it? What is it?" A fish has come out and just slapped her in the head. Well, we're racing on this boat. So then everyone on the boat is like, okay, like, what's happening? And I go British, like pescado. And then I laugh, my high-pitched laugh, 15 minutes. I can't breathe. No one else makes a noise on this boat that's traveling for like a cold hour. But we get back to the hotel as well and pull up. And the guy's like, all right, you're going to pay? And Hannah I've never seen this. She just went, no. And I was like, I don't think you can. You what? And she went, no, that was rubbish. I'm not going to pay. And he went, I'll get the person at the front desk. She went, good, go get him. And he called him and they were like, okay, we're going to sort this later. And he just left. And I was like, Hannah went, good night, and walked off. I was like, we just leave? You can't steal an experience, surely. So then the next day, the front desk called us up and were like, hey, what happened there? And she explained all the stuff that happened. And they went, we'll pay for it. Don't worry. It's on us. And here's a free drink. So it was like, you can just be obnoxious people saying no and not pay for stuff. So I've been a terror since I've been back in the UK. Yes. I've just been doing that everywhere.
That's how Americans get through the world. What are you talking about?
I've never seen it in person, though. I would have just paid with a tip. The fact that she just said no, I'll tell you what, I couldn't even talk. I was like frozen, awkward. It was so bad.
Oh, that sounds awful.
This is where you need to max things out, though. The free drink. What free drink do you go for? Can I have a pint of absinthe, please? You really got to get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Top shelf tequila.
Top shelf.
One thing you should know, Martin, is that here on the west coast of the U.S., especially in San Diego and Southern California, and probably in New Mexico too, there is a time of year where that algae does light up. It lights up literally the waves as they come in. So a lot of people go down to the beach at night and it looks kind of like you're watching Avatar. Basically, this really bright blue waves are crashing in to the coast.
And what time of year is that, perchance?
Summer.
dude, I saw that. I totally saw that.
Yeah. I'll send you guys videos.
We got absolutely grifted by just some random company. They're like, yeah, I'll take you to some algae. But other than that was the funniest bit, her getting slapped with a fish and I couldn't breathe. But genuinely, that's how, because all the other ones, I'm just going to sound like I'm bragging because it was all amazing. And yeah, if you're ever thinking of going there or America, go there instead. Sorry, Scott, I'll come see you.
How dare you? Yeah, you came basically to the same coast and didn't even come up to see me. How dare you?
Do both at the same time.
Nah,
there you go.
Nah, just Mexico.
Nice one, my friend. Well, it sounds like. Did you find any cider in Mexico? I suppose that probably wasn't your.
Well, we were going to loads of distilleries and mezcalerias and stuff and just drinking a load of real cheap lager, which was perfect. But there was one cider that I found. It was £7 for a can. And it's a little number called Strongbow Dark Fruits. So I was tempted. But instead I went for the really good artisanal mezcal that was a quarter of the price and tasted sublime. So no cider on the trip, just a shed load of cheap lager and good mezcal.
Bravo. It's amazing. Everybody go check out Mexico. Martin gives it his seal of approval. Oh dear. Mr. Hutchison, how have you been since we last had a chinwag? Have you been doing some building? You're wearing some wonderful dungarees. I do actually like a dungaree. Where did you get them? I want them.
Is that your question? Where's the building? Where did the building come in?
I don't know. Is that what builders wear? Do they wear dungarees?
I don't know. God, I would love to see you with a tradesman.
Hello, my man.
Hello, my man. Where are your dungarees?
Yes. That was originally formed from limestone. 2 shillings as a tip.
Martin's been in Mexico, had a great time. You're having a baby. That's a great time. Great thing. I've got gout.
Oh, no. So...
Oh,
crap.
It's the worst.
When you came on the show to record and the camera's up and looked HD, I was like, you look like 5 years younger. Is gout really the health tip that we should be looking for to look this good?
Not in the slightest. No. If you could see me walk, you would know it's not a health tip. I have no idea how I've got it, why it's still here about a week later, after a course of steroids that the doctor insisted would shift it. So yeah, I'm hobbling around some kind of Tudor king who's eaten too much boar's liver or something. I don't even eat meat. I don't drink red wine. That's all these things that they keep saying. I don't know. I feel like I'm some kind of Game of Thrones character or something.
Well, look, Grant, let me come to your rescue here, because I also have a little sideline as the goutologist as well. It is something that has afflicted me over this last 12 months. I've had a couple of bouts of it, and yeah, and actually once because there is this kind of, as you said, this almost like sort of shame or stigma attached to it as being, as you said, I'll have some seal heart pate and some dolphin blubber and stuff. You know, it's like okay, there are. There's a huge amount of research that there is yet to be done into it, and loads that's quite inconclusive. Yes, the old things about these purines, certain things have more: red wine, beer, red meats, and things like that, maybe shellfish. But once I've been hobbling about, people have said, "Oh, have you got gout?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have it too." Cheese is my trigger, or for some people, tomatoes is their trigger, or tomatoes. For me, like dehydration. Have you been dehydrated?
Yeah,
because that's the key. That's the key thing for me.
Yeah, I think a combination of probably all of those things. In that, you know, I have for quite a long time lived a kind of dairy-free diet, and in the past 2 or 3 weeks, due to certain situational complications, I've had to have some cheese. I've had some pizzas and. I'm doing a cider and cheese tasting, so I was like, well,
due to some situations, you've organised a cheese tasting. Hey, don't. You could just say that you want.
No, I did. No. It hasn't happened yet, but I had to like, you know, it was, and I don't know. I've just become less like strict with my vegan diet, so I was kind of like, I'll just make sure that these pairings work out. So I think that's definitely what's brought it on. But yeah, it's a stubborn little bastard. So
it's really painful. It really is inhibiting.
Really painful. So that's my good news to go alongside both of your good news.
Can we do a call out on the speak pipe? Does anybody have any good remedies for gout beyond medication? Like, come on, some of the herbal cures or tried and tested old wives' tales, anything. Let's just, we need to help Grant here, and I need something in the back pocket as well, just in case I have a bit too much seal's heart pate. Goodness me. Well, that's terrible, Grant. I'm sorry that you've been having such a bad time. I've also, been to Norway and to Spain as well on some really wonderful travels. It's been an amazing.
We've travelled and he's hobbled. That's the combo.
Yeah, well, baby on the way. I thought better get some travelling in. Had the chance to go to Hardangerfjord, and you've got to say Hardangerfjord in that accent, which is the main cider making area in the west of Norway. The most spectacular scenery with these orchards just above the waterline at like a 45-degree angle, going up to pretty much where the tree line is, and the glacier is just above. It's insane, and some great ciders being made, and an opportunity to pop to Asturias and to the Basque Country as well to do a little bit of filming. So a great fun little thing, but also hosting international people in the UK. The wonderful Wilms family, hopefully they're listening, from Kamloops, British Columbia. They got in touch with me to see if I would be able to sort of host them on a Herefordshire cider tour. And where did they hear of me? The Neutral Cider Hotel podcast. There we go.
Do you watch Sunday Brunch? No. Oh, okay. Do you listen to a podcast? Hell yeah.
This is it. It's getting there, people. It is getting there. I don't know where there is.
To the converted.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, right. You're already listening. That's right. Sorry. So that was quite fun, and nice to hear that people are continuing to appreciate our little podcast. How about you, Scott? What have you been up to?
I've been up to listening to Speak Pipes. We got one, and I want to play it for you now. So
Bring it
play
on.
this. It's a good way to cap this first segment. Hold on just a sec here.
Not about him.
Because it's professional.
Oh, hello there, Neutral Cider Hotel. My name's Gillian, and I live in Derby. And I'm just using the speak pipe to say how much I enjoy Neutral Cider Hotel. It sounds like I'm in a room full of the most interesting people, like in the most interesting pub or something with the most interesting cider people, and everyone's just talking like really good stuff, and it just feels so warm and welcoming, and it's great fun to listen to. So keep up the good work. Thanks for all you're doing, and yay, cider and Perry. It's the future. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Jill.
Jillian. Hello.
Thank you, Jill. We do actually know who Jill is. Jill is like the most senior Cider and Perry person within CAMRA, the Campaign for Real Ale, and Cider and Perry, the consumer organization that helped me publish. Get ready, producer Scott.
Hold on. Okay.
Modern British Cider.
I really wanted you to press the I'll tell you guys everything about it.
So great that Jill has finally found the podcast and she's enjoying it and is getting some of those pub vibes that we have been aiming for from the very start. So that's great to hear. It's always nice. And please, we love having our ego fluffed up, basically. So you're welcome, anybody, to do a speak pipe with anything to say how fabulous we are.
Yeah, we also got some DMs, and someone asked us about how they could support the show. So one, call us with a speak pipe, but also if you want to go on Apple Podcasts and you want to write a review, a couple sentences about the show and your experience with it, we love that. Rate it on Spotify. Tell all your friends. That's the biggest thing. Like, there's nothing more that helps a podcast than people telling other people about the podcast.
There we go. You heard the man. Get to work, people. All right, that's enough of that. Now, let's see what's happening in the news. And now, here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's for this week's hot news. And I'm coming in straight off with happening imminently is the Cider Salon in Bristol, Saturday, 2nd of July, plus some other events happening in the week leading up to it. This is the big one. This is where all the cider makers from across the UK, anybody who's worth knowing, will be there. And there's going to be some international producers too. Representing USA, we have got Bauman Cider. We've also got Eden are going to be represented. We've got Brutes from Sweden. We're going to have Dupont from France. Ooh. And also we're going to have Erano Mele, which is Roberto Basilico, ex-cider maker of Hawks, who's now back in his Italian homeland, is going to be there. First time for me tasting any of his stuff. It'd be great to have Roberta back in the countries. And obviously that kind of cider communal thing going on as well. That's what's so nice. Opportunity for all the cider heads to get together and have a jolly good time. Obviously, drinking copious amounts of cider is going to be a really good idea when I've got like a 2-week-old baby. But, we're just going to push on through, or maybe not, and just take it easy. But chaps, producer Scott, sorry, sad face. Again, you won't be there. Grant, Scott will. Scott, not Scott. What's your name? Martin. That's right. Yes, you there in the corner. Very good.
Oh my goodness. You've not even got a baby yet. My name's Pride.
Oh, shit. I'm in trouble. Are we looking forward to it, chaps?
Was that a me or Scott?
That was a both of you.
I am very much looking forward to it. Let's be clear.
I'll say this. I haven't missed one yet. I'm hoping not to miss this one.
Have you remembered all of them?
I've accidentally booked Stuart Lee tickets on the same day. So, I might have to invite Stu.
Who's Stuart Lee?
But is that an evening performance though?
Yeah, but in London. And I'm not going to end up in the toilets again and then sober up and then shoot to Stuart Lee. So trying to switch around. So no one needs to know any of this. I don't know why I'm on it. But in my head, it'll be the best one yet. And I'm trying to make it so that I can go. I had the drama of no tickets last year. So now I've got more tickets than I need.
Have you
on this
bought
drama.
tickets?
I don't need one this year, but I'm supposed to be helping out if I don't go.
I haven't bought mine yet. Actually, I keep forgetting. I've bought flights. I've got a hotel.
That's it. You're not getting in, Grant.
I know. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? I'm not pouring anything this year, but decided to come as a punter.
Good idea.
And I'm doing something with Brad from Brutes during the day as well. I should probably have details of it, but I don't. So,
well, it is because it's hosted by me allegedly, which is a World of Cider tasting session at midday at the Left-Handed Giant Tap Room. We'll be talking and tasting through a range of international ciders just ahead of the main event, so you can get a sneaky peek. If you head to cidersalon.co.uk, all of the events are in there. You can buy your ticket on Eventbrite right now. Now, Martin, you were mentioning Stuart Lee there. For some of our UK and US listeners might not know who Stuart Lee is, but he is a comedian and he has a particular kind of slow burn and long form type of humor. Somebody else who shares some of that sensibility is a chap called James Acaster, who I had the pleasure of speaking to and presenting some ciders on Sunday brunch just the other week, as part of a celebration for World Cider Day. And one of the ciders that was featured was from Eve's. It was the Darling Creek, which was enjoyed by all. Grant, did you manage to see any kind of uptick in sales as a result of the people on the telly liking your cider or that cider that you sell?
Yeah. Yes, thankfully we did.
Good.
A bunch of people who came onto the website and ordered a bunch of Darling Creek and some other bits and pieces. We also stocked the Galopette Rosé as well, so we had a bunch of orders for that. So, I did get some. We got some sale out of it. Thank you, Gabe.
My absolute pleasure. Glad it was good. Did anybody else do anything interesting for World Cider Day, June the 3rd?
June the 3rd.
I didn't even drink cider.
No, didn't even touch it. We had a little discount in store and online at Able.
2.5% at Able.
I mean, but there was one of my favorite posts was friend of the show Taz, girl with a cider review on Instagram, reading a copy of Ciderology.
Oh, there you go.
Have you still not sent her the new book, Gabe? Or?
Oh, quite possibly not.
You do promise everyone on the show that you'll send them the new book and you'll autograph it and everything. And
yeah. Well,
you don't send it to anybody.
Grant, can you comment on that picture and just tell her to keep that and save it and probably sell it on because it'll be more pricey than the signed version? I'm assuming she's got
definitely
the collector's edition.
Well, look, Grant's collecting many behind him, so it's he's just boosting that book collection. There you go. There we go. Fine.
Yeah, no, they've all gone.
Oh no, where have they gone?
They're propping up the table.
If you actually want to know, we gave one to the chap who's working for us in the shop to get to know his ciders, and I don't know whether
I don't know whether you have a 12-hour.
Producer Scott is flashing both books. Look at that. Nice.
Completely unsigned, so very
yes.
Oh, Scott.
Worth a fortune.
How did you get it? That's the question.
I bought it to support my friend Gabe.
No, but I didn't think it was available to buy anymore.
I bought it.
This is the thing, is that, but it was not economically viable to ship over. Remember that? That was a whole year ago.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. That was a great episode. Yeah.
Do you remember
let's be positive outside. Yeah.
Oh God.
Dear. Anyway, Martin, come on, give us a little bit of insight as to some of the news that you've managed to pick up. What's been interesting you?
So, previous guest, Felix Nash of the Fine Cider Company, has he has announced and opened the London Cider House at Borough Market in London.
Ooh.
So it's a collaboration between Fine Cider, New Forest Cider, Oliver's Cider, and 2 orchards. And it launched this month gone. I'll give you a little bit of my personal attachment to it. Felix messaged me and said, "Hey, bud, are you coming to the opening?" And I was like, "Brilliant. Yeah, when is it?" And he went, "Oh, today." I was like, "Well, I haven't actually booked the ticket to come down." And
I don't actually live in the same city as you, unfortunately. So
I was at Pilton bottling. I was like, "Sorry, man, I've just got to shoot right down now in a car." But it's one that Hannah and I are looking to go to London very soon. Maybe Stuart Lee if we don't go to the cider salon. So I won't even see him then because he'll be up at the cider salon. So it's a cider bar shop in Borough Market, London. And one of the things I'm excited about looking at it is a big opening conversation was carafes and opening up wines, ciders. There you go. There's the slip.
there you go.
It's genuinely a discussion that I've had, and I've poured ciders like that it's just unheard of commercially to even try it. So I'm glad that we're getting to levels of cider conversation where I can accidentally say wine and genuinely mean it rather than pretending that it's that high level. Guys, anything else news-wise?
Producer Scott, I think you have a little nugget for us, don't you?
This is just about the show, actually. And we blew through these episodes so far this year so fast that I didn't get to stop and mention that we broke 50 episodes this year.
Oh, I got out of
town. Did you guys ever imagine? We recorded 50 episodes. And can you guess of the episodes we've recorded this year, which one was our 50th episode?
Oh, was it? It wasn't the Artistraw. What was before Artistraw? Who did we speak to? Oh, Wilding, Sam at Wilding.
It is not Wilding.
Oh, no.
It's the most monumental episode we've ever done.
I mean, there's a few. How can you pin that down as to just one?
Well, I figured it would be very close to your heart, Gabe. It is our cider tax special.
That was the 50th episode.
Yes. Oh, that makes me very happy. Very happy indeed.
Ironically, as well, we lost 20% of listeners on that.
Hey.
Nice deduction.
I know it's very UK specific, but it's there is such value. I was actually, there've been some more developments. I was going to bring it up for this week's show, but I think I will save it for the next episode. You lucky people hanging off the edge of your seats. I will give you a tax update in the summer.
Yeah, sorry, honey. I can't be with you and the newborn baby tonight. Yeah, no, I must give a tax episode update to my listeners.
That's right. That's dedication for the cause, people.
Probably be a 4-hour evening record, I'm guessing.
Probably. That's how it normally goes. All right, that's a wrap on the cider news. Up next, our conversation with Reverend Matt. And now, here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's time to bring on our special guest. Today, we're joined by the founder of one of the USA's most pioneering modern cider makers. A self-proclaimed die-hard craft beer revolutionary, this Portland-based cider maker pushes the boundaries of flavor and process to make some of the most unusual ciders that apparently nobody else will make. And if you're really lucky, he might even officiate your wedding. Checking into the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's Nat West from Reverend Nat Cider. Woo!
Hello.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Welcome to the show. Nat, we've been talking about getting you on the show for a while. I do believe that you're quite the ardent fan, which is great to have a fan on the show. Normally with the guests, it's like who, what, where. So to have somebody that might actually have an inkling of what we're doing, that's a great contribution. So we can help.
Not an actual hotel.
Whoa, don't break the illusion to everybody. We've been working hard cleaning those carpets. Well, not really at all.
Smoke and mirrors.
It's all smoke and mirrors. So Nat, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for, I think, a few years now. I think we first spoke when I was researching my first book, Ready Scott, ciderology. Yeah, pretty great, not bad. And then actually, I think got to meet you at Glint Cap. I think it was back in 2017. So kind of.
I think the more interesting point about our relationship is that we didn't know each other until just a few years ago. That's the curious bit.
Wow.
Seems like we should have met earlier than that.
We should have done, but we're making up for lost time. So that's okay. That's all right. We're making the most of the time now. So.
Do you guys want to get your own room in the hotel? Or?
Well, yeah. Is the honeymoon suite available?
The most curious thing is what I don't know about you, Gabe.
Anyway, moving on. So now, for anybody who isn't in the position like myself of taking you off to the honeymoon suites, could you briefly bring everybody else up to speed as to who is Nat West and what is Reverend Nat's hard cider?
I think you pretty much nailed it on the intro. I can't add anything.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Next
What
question.
a brilliant guest.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay, this is a tough crowd. This is going to be a long night.
Well, I'll give you the longer
Go on
version
in.
of that. So I started making cider about 18 years ago. I can always remember because that's how old my kid is. As a thing to do as a sort of bored stay-at-home dad, a neighbor had a very large apple tree, and it was dumping apples all over his yard, my yard, and it's kind of on the edge of the yards. And I saw these apples hitting the ground, and I thought to myself, I think I can get drunk off of those. And see, I had never had cider before. The first cider that I ever tasted was my own. Cider in America was a little behind the times back in the early 2000s. So I Googled like how to crush apples, but I didn't Google how to make hard cider. I just want to know how to crush the apples because my other neighbors were big home brewers, and I was always drinking their homebrew and talking to them about homebrew. And so I said, hey, how do I make cider? And they came at it from a brewer's perspectives. And so the first cider that I ever made actually had a Belgian Saison yeast in it, and it was fantastic. And I still have a couple of those bottles. They're actually pretty good for being very, very old.
Nice.
And then so I just made more and more cider every year at home, stealing apples from other neighbors and finding them in abandoned roadways and old parks and whatnot. And as time goes by, I start to make more and more cider and hate my old job more and more. And then one day the two of those intersected, and I quit my very well-paying job, and now I make cider for fun.
The classic Venn diagram of cider maker. Have job, earn money, fall in love with cider, no money, still have cider, hopefully don't fall out of love with cider. That's
meet weird people.
Meet weird people.
That's part of it. Yeah. And so the business has now been around for 10 years. 11 years? 10 years? I mean, COVID time is wiggly. So we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, even though we've been around for 10 years, 11 years. This fall, we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. And does 10 years seem to have flown by for you, or has it been, I mean, to go from home brewing, a little bit of cider to, what kind of scale are you at now?
Yeah, I think depending on the day. Some days it feels like yesterday, and some days I stop and think to myself, I've probably forgotten more ciders that I've made than I can remember. And I've made, actually somebody asked me that the other day, how many ciders do you think I've made in the last 10 years? And I did some quick calculations that came up with over 600, under 1,000. So there's a certain scale to the business that is easy to forget, kind of where I am sometimes and where I've been and the people that I've met and the places that I've been and the ciders that I've drunk and the stuff that I've done. So it's weird for sure.
So this might be a good point for us to crack open one of your ciders.
Yes.
Can I say thank you for kindly sending some over. You're holding up the one that I assumed would probably be the best choice. We'll get on to the other ones later, Nat.
Yeah.
Let's
just why are we just talking? We need to be drinking.
Yeah.
So basically, we've got here is called Revival Hard Apple, Revnat's Portland Style Hard Cider. So, obviously we'll talk about the cider specifically, but I was quite interested to hear what what Portland style is and how you would describe Portland style to someone who's maybe not used to that as a style.
That's a good question, and I don't have a clean answer for you. It's mostly that statement on the cans is designed to elicit a question from people like you, Grant. And I won't answer. Really goes. It goes to my firm belief that cider is a regional drink. Everywhere that it's made and consumed around the world, it is made using local ingredients, not just apples, using local processes, and it has a certain history that's very relative to and respectful of the location where it's made and consumed. And for cider makers in America to say, oh, the only real, quote unquote, real cider is made with bittersweet fruit, that's not cool at all. And it really disrespects a lot of other really mature cider cultures around the world, like, for instance, Australia or South Africa or France or the different parts of Spain, or, I mean, even like Russian ciders are very unique to the place that they're grown. So we in the Pacific Northwest have really carved out our own niche, I think, about the kinds of, well, I guess more accurately, the consumers here have carved out a niche of what they want to drink. And I'm making ciders for those consumers. It just so happens that my palate is, works well with Portlanders, it works well with Pacific Northwesters, and it works well with select folks from around the world. So that's kind of the idea there.
Well, tell us a little bit about this Revival Hard Apple then.
Yeah, so it's the appliest cider that I make, and well, actually, why don't you guys tell me about it? You're the cider drinking professionals. What do you think
third question you've not answered. This is going well. Let's
noticing a trend.
I'll read out what I've got here on the can just to give people a kind of a round view of what we're actually pouring here. So Washington grown apples and dark muscovado fermented with two rare Belgian yeasts create a subtly familiar off-dry cider. So, and go. On the ingredients list, isn't in that list actually, there's hops as well.
That's right, yeah.
We've got a hopped cider here made with Belgian yeasts.
Yeah, the hoppiness is not, we don't sell it as a hop cider. The only where the list on the package says hops is the ingredient list. And to me, hops are like salt on good food or sugar with fruit. It can be it's a flavor enhancer, I think, for some of the other ingredients, the other flavors that are already in there. It doesn't come across like a hoppy cider. And by and large, if you don't read the label, you'll never guess that there are hops in there. So,
I mean, the hops for me are coming out on the nose more.
Very aromatic, yeah. We use Mosaic, which is a super aromatic sort of tropically hop.
But it's also the massive impact of the Belgian yeast strains in as well. They're really lovely bubble gummy, which is very much
bubblegum was
very my kind of beer take. And I suppose this is where maybe this is where a Portland style comes into play, is that obviously your beer and especially your craft beer heritage and culture is world renowned, and so why wouldn't it be the case that a contemporary cider making culture in that city is of course going to be influenced by its beer culture, and that is rooted. These ciders are rooted with those drinkers and also these kind of producers. So having these kinds of yeast strains and having these hops, it seems very logical to me. Was that something conscious, or just that I think you said to me that you're somebody who's always liked drinking beer and you're making ciders that beer drinkers will enjoy? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, it's as simple as that. But I think also it goes along with some of the overall vibe or ethos of people who live in Portland, and then people who live in the Pacific Northwest, and then people who live in the Western U.S. in general. We're it's a little bit cliche, but we're pioneers in that we don't like the status quo. We like to invent new things, but there's no such thing. You can't invent anything new anymore. So you're just fusing other cultures and other foods together. So in addition to using, this product has, Northwest grown hops, Northwest grown apples. The Muscovado is, I sourced the world's greatest sugar, and it comes from Mauritius, which is a tiny island off the coast of a tiny island off the coast of Africa. And it's the greatest sugar in the world. And we did extensive sugar trials to find the right one to work with this product. It's not sweet. The sweetness only comes from apple juice, but it ferments with the muscovado, so it has sort of a caramelly, dark sugar kind of flavor in there. So in addition to using local ingredients, we also are not afraid to find ingredients from anywhere, particularly aiming west from here, in the Asian countries as well.
Now, you said that you don't necessarily do anything too crazy out there or extreme. I do remember that you having Brer Rabbit's a great example. I'm not sure anybody else has tried co-fermenting apple juice with carrot juice before, for example. And I would probably say that that's not the most kind of out there experimentation that you've done. Yeah. Tell us about some of your more outlandish ones. And is there a limit? Is there anywhere that you wouldn't go? Where is the boundary?
The clam chowder cider.
Oh,
I've never done a clam chowder cider.
Yeah.
Is there a limit? The limit is pretty simple. The limit is, does it taste good? I'm not here for gags and gimmicks. I'm here to learn myself, to think and to learn and to try things. I think one of the ones that a lot of other people might say is our most extreme cider that I've ever made is a cider called Angel of Death. And it, okay, it sounds stupid and extreme, but there's a method to the madness here. I was interested in I've always been interested in other fermentation, not just apples, not just fruit. So for instance, lactobacillus fermentations and acidification fermentations. What are these other fermentations doing in the product other than converting sugar into alcohol? So I was experimenting with some charcuterie. So I took a raw leg of lamb and inoculated it with some acidifying bacteria, lactobacillus strains, to ferment the meat. But I also wanted to see if it was possible to convert sugar into alcohol at the same time in the same vessel. So I took this raw leg of lamb, rubbed salamis on it, dropped it into fresh apple juice, and waited 6 months. And by God, it fermented. And then I packaged it, and it's called Angel of Death. And it didn't kill anyone. And I only made like 30 bottles, but if you go on Untapped, there's like 100 people who've checked into this thing. So I think people are just, I'm not really sure what's going on there. But Angel of Death, it sounds super like just gimmicky, but I was really interested in the science of fermentation. So there is a limit, and it really relies on me wanting to know what's going on with some fermentations or trying to experiment with other flavors, combining other flavors together. But yeah, we started with Revival because that is like the most basic cider that we make. It actually happens to be our best seller as well. So it's kind of funny that way. But yeah, we're really known for making unusual things. And maybe the next one that we could, I don't know what pace we're on here, but the next one I think we should try is the cider for my family.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest. I cracked mine about an hour ago, so I've been on the last little sip for that whole thing. Then,
very good.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about it, then Martin, talk us through
the Revival.
Your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
No, we're moving on.
No, yeah, I haven't drank this. I drank the Revival as well.
Sorry.
I was like, what are you doing?
One thing I might mention is maybe for some of our English listeners, British listeners, is that I'm pretty good friends with Tom Oliver, the man himself, the magician, and we get along really well. I love his ciders. He loves my ciders, and we make completely different ciders. And he told me one time, and he actually helped me clarify some of my own cider making. He's a very insightful guy. He said that I, Nat, approach other ingredients and blending and balancing other ingredients to put together into a single cider the same way that he balances different varieties and blending of finished ciders together. And he derides the same way I deride people who just kind of throw things together and call it good, or rely on the purely rely on the provenance of the apple or the history of the apple, and then therefore it's good. No, for him, it's about balancing and small nuances and flavors that you might not be able to taste by themselves, but when you put them together, they all create a finished product. And so for me, in any cider that I make, there's ways that I advertise it, and then there are a bunch of other ingredients in there that you don't necessarily taste, but they provide sort of a culinary level of complexity to the finished product. So it's very much a sort of culinary inspired ciders in a lot of ways.
Well then.
So what we're drinking just now is cider for my family. Hard apple cider and grape wine. That's quite a common, the kind of apple cider and grape wine or grape must or some,
In touch from Pilsen.
I was going to say Martin is the expert on these matters. I don't know. Is the sort of co-fermentation or blending of cider and wine, is that becoming more of a thing, Nat, in the US?
No, it's funny that you say that, Grant, because it is not a thing. I maybe I could come up with one or two producers nationwide who are combining either co-fermenting or in any scale. Everybody tries it once or twice here and there, right? But in any kind of repeatable level, it's not a thing. More importantly, the customers that I give this to, they say, "What? What am I drinking? I don't understand what this is." So.
I'm struggling.
It's like to me, it's almost like if you were to say, like, if you'd have said, "Hey, crack this," it's like a cherry cider co-ferment, or like, oh, it's a super sticky, it's like a cider and black gone AWOL. It's like the fruit's there, but also the tannin and something is happening. That's like, what? Yeah, you're literally like, I had to check the ingredients again. I was like, has he put something in here that I'm like, he's saying, oh, it's actually just in that little bit, but it's super. I mean, it looks, when I started pouring out, there's a jet black lid to it, and it looked jet black in my bedroom. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah, darker than I thought it was going to be.
Colored for sure.
But it's also sweet without being sickly sweet, and has, like, I actually didn't expect it to be purple. For some reason I was like, oh, it's going to be a light color, like, but it's funny. It's really herbal, really spicy, botanical. Like, are there spices in this?
Yeah.
Right.
Name those spices. Yeah. Come on. What we got? Come on, Grant.
No, you name.
Come on, Grant. What we got?
No, you answer the question.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm interviewing you guys.
Is there any clove in there?
Clove. Yeah.
Yeah. Clove. Okay. Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. No clove. Good. Yeah. Great. Yes. No. Is there any cinnamon in there?
Well, sort of similar to how there's not any clove in there.
Okay.
It's almost
have you
like
put any cola cubes in it?
Yes, Grant. Literally, there's cola in here.
Yeah.
You guys know red wine and Coke, right? And that's not a thing anybody's ever visited Spain on holiday, right? It has red wine and Coke.
Yeah.
But,
what's it called?
It's a calimocho, they call it.
Calimocho,
Yeah. Nobody knows that in America, and I've absolutely loved calimocho. And I wanted to bring the culture of adulterating wine with Coke to America. But I didn't want to. No, if you say red wine and Coke, everybody in America is like, hell no, I'm not touching that.
If you say red wine and Coke,
you want to invite to your party, yeah. So it doesn't say cola on there; it just says natural flavors, because it does have cola nut, it has cinnamon, cloves, orange peel, vanilla, all these things that are you would traditionally combine to make a cola. So it's a pretty simple product actually. It's red wine. We use a Pinot. We use a Petit Verdot.
Yeah.
Petit Verdot, yeah. And then there's actually the cider that's in there is this fascinating cider that's our Hellfire, which some of you may have heard of. It's this product that I make every year. I take fresh apple juice, heirloom apples, and as juice, and I boil it for between 24 and 30 hours to reduce it to about 1/3 of its original volume and concentrate the sugars. And it's complete caramelization, 100% Maillard reaction at that point. And it brings it basically triples the starting gravity on the product. And then I ferment it, and it comes out between 16 and 19% alcohol. And then I usually barrel age it, bourbon barrels or whiskey barrels. So that's what this product has in it. It has this 18% super concentrated fire cider plus wine plus cola plus fresh apple juice plus water to bring it down to 6.9%.
Amazing.
So when you're, I'm going to say, when you're putting this together, I'm assuming you've got those components and are you blending to get to those, like how much, the question should be, how does this come together?
It comes together. This one in particular came together because of the history of Calimocho. I love Calimochos, and I wanted to honor Calimocho. I had an idea of Calimocho in some way. I didn't know if this was going to be the product, but I was going to try to make this the product that kind of honors Calimocho. And then I was working with my neighbors down the street, their winery, and I was like, "Hey, let's do a thing." I just moved in the neighborhood, and they were really excited to further our relationship. And they said, "Hey, we have this Petit Verdot that don't tell anybody, but they have this Petit Verdot they couldn't sell because it was too strong and minerally and black pepper and tasted like rocks, and it was just not good as by itself." And I was like, "That's incredible. I don't need fruit. I need no fruit. The less fruit in the wine, the better, because I just need tannins and I need, ground up lava stone and those other flavors that I can't bring as a cider maker, right?" So they said, "Great, you can have this Petit Verdot." So I got this Petit Verdot, and then I was like, "Well, I'm going to throw some cola in there." And the cola took quite a long time to develop the recipe for all that stuff. And then I wanted it to be easy drinking. You can sit down to a 16-ounce can. I wanted it to be both simultaneously super rich, but after 4 or 6 ounces, you're like, "Yeah, I'm going to finish that whole can." So that's where the water and the fresh apple juice to kind of brighten it up. And I mean, I guess for me, Martin, it comes down to being, if you were a chef and you were just putting together a dish, you'd start with an ingredient that was in season or whatever, or you'd start with, something that a hole in your menu that you needed to fill, and you just workshop it again and again, using your experience and what other ingredients you have on hand, and some very practical things like cost and drinkability or whatever always come into play as well.
Well, tell us about some disasters. That's what we want to hear about. Right? We want to hear about what didn't work, and why.
And we can't answer this question for you.
Don't tell me. Yeah, don't tell me everything you've made tastes this good.
I will tell you that there's 2 kinds of ciders that I make. Those that the clouds part and God points down to me and says, "Here, my son, here's the recipe." And he just hands it to me and poof, it's just there. I don't know if I sent you Sacrilege Sour Cherry, but that's one of my popular ones. That one was, I was walking upstairs to my office, and my lead cider maker was shouting at me, "We got to make this cherry cider. We got to make this cherry cider." And I turned around and just rattled off a bunch of ingredients in the correct proportions. And we haven't changed that recipe in like 8 years or whatever. So that one, sometimes they come that way, but mostly they come through iterations and lots and lots and lots of trials. So I may have sent you our pineapple cider, Viva la Pineapple. That one was many years worth of work. Saint Citron, I know I sent you that one.
Yeah.
That one was like 6 months of 100 different trials to get all the balance of ingredients, because there's like 15 ingredients in there. So the ones that don't work are, so there's 2 ways that any drink doesn't work. One is bad idea, and the other one is bad execution. And sometimes it's both. And
these lava rocks don't fit in the canning line.
Yeah. So exactly. So I think the only time that I have a cider that doesn't work is when I have a bad idea, because I will just execute until it works. If it's a good idea, I'll just work it until I get it to taste right. Source the ingredients, pay whatever I got to pay to get the right stuff to get it to work. But some ideas that I've had that are just not good ideas. Well, honestly, the Angel of Death one was really stupid.
That was just.
But you did just speak about it as one of your prouder moments.
Yeah.
So.
I did that one so that you don't have to. Don't worry, I took care of it. No one else has to be that stupid from now on.
So you're doing it for other people.
Yeah, I'm taking one for the team.
So that Tom Oliver never needs to drop a leg of lamb into his barrels.
Nope. he was going to one day, and I said, "Nope, Tom,
Don't do
let me
it.
give you my notes
Don't
on that."
Warning:
Let me
the
do
following
that for you.
ciders are made by professionals. Anyone attempting
Yeah.
this at home should.
Yeah, shall not do that. Gosh, I don't know. I think probably the best way to describe the ciders that don't work are the ones where I kind of give up on figuring it out. We have this cider called Holy Watermelon that I make. I try to make it every year, but I just can't get my act together sometimes. We cut up fresh watermelons, and we don't ferment the watermelon water. We just ferment apple juice and then blend it with fresh watermelon water. And that one doesn't work because if you imagine you take a watermelon and you cut it open, you put it in your fridge for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks, it's going to get gross. So that's an example of a cider that tastes great within the first few days, but we can't sell it because by the time you get it, even if you keep it cold and everything, by the time it goes on the store shelf, you're just dealing with fresh watermelon juice. And then when you try to pasteurize watermelon juice, it just tastes like squash, like pumpkins. It's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah, so we don't really make the holy watermelon very much. And we do, I put this label on the thing, on the side of the label, it says, drink now, keep cold. And I've gotten some like 1-star reviews on that one, like, tastes like pumpkins. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're drinking it in December.
Do you personally track them down and knock on their door and say, hey, you?
I will ferment you.
Yeah. Watch out, otherwise you're going in the barrel next. Never mind. The Angel of Death is a slightly modern day take on the old rat in the barrel, isn't it? It's the food for fermentation. Right. So there's a historical root and all these things. But what I really want to know, Nat, it's very important, is do you make a cider that is a cure for gout? Because poor Grant is struggling. He's a bit gouty at the moment, and I said I empathise greatly. So
we're brethren.
Yeah. Do you have gout relieving cider?
Well, I have malaria relieving cider.
Are you legally allowed to say that? Are you? I know you're a reverend, but you're a doctor
I'm not allowed
as
to say
well.
that.
Okay, you did not just
Flashbacks
say
of
that.
Roger Wilkins.
But
here.
I literally put quinine in it. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's nothing for gout, but yes for malaria. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's no use.
That's no use to Grant. There's not much malaria in Scotland, unfortunately. It's not quite.
Well, you could travel and then drink my
I've got a
cider.
really sore foot.
He's got a sore foot. We've got to sort the gout.
Where am I meant to go?
I've heard that pineapples are actually really good for gout. So should we crack open the finale and
See what you did there.
to set this
What
up?
a segue.
Yeah,
There you
come
go.
on, we got
to set this up. Nat, Grant hates basically flavored cider on principle. So
Well, this is not a cider, Grant, so you're all set.
there we go.
See, that's what I thought actually when I saw the can. I was like, good, clever.
So
Fermented.
I'll read the ingredients first for the
Sure.
listeners. So pineapples, apple juice, lava rocks, pilonocio, sugar, spices, yeast.
Dead salmon. You forgot about dead salmon.
Yes, that's living salmon in the fresh one.
Yeah. Right. So this is a part of my love of fermentation around the world, and is different meats and different vegetables or whatever, but also what is everybody drinking around the world in sort of native cultures? Because the one thing that humans figured out long ago is how to get drunk with what's available on hand.
Yes.
I've made kumis. Talk about a failure, Grant. I made kumis. Anybody else ever made or had kumis?
I don't know what that is.
Mongolian fermented mare's milk.
The horse milk.
The horse milk. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I made that.
That's disgusting. What are you talking about that?
Why would you, of all the
Unbelievably bad.
fermentations you can make, why would they do that? Because there is no fruit in the
No, that's true.
in the Gobi Desert.
Hold on, right?
3.5 stars.
You need to finish this story. You made Mongolian fermented horse milk,
Yeah, well, it wasn't Mongolian because I made it in Portland, but yeah.
but that's where that's where it originates.
And it wasn't mare's milk. I actually used milk
Don't.
powder.
I mean, what's the point?
Okay.
You're just such a charlatan.
I have used donkey milk. but the milk powder was actually better than the donkey milk.
Now, hang on. Time out. Where did you find the donkey? The donkey?
I asked a friend of mine. I asked a friend of mine. I was talking to her about this, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my friends, they raise donkeys. I'll see if they." And there happened to be a donkey who was lactating at that moment, and I got about a gallon of donkey milk.
At that specific moment.
Yeah,
Just a fortuitous moment. What can you say?
And the best part about it is the donkey people loved cider, so I traded them a gallon of donkey milk for like 3 cases of cider. What's 3 cases of cider to me?
Suckers, eh? Oh, you really got one over on them.
I am. They didn't see it coming.
And so it was a little unpleasant. It didn't work so well.
Oh yeah, no, it tasted like well, number one, I served it to a guy who traveled in Mongolia, and he said, "Yeah, it tastes exactly like the stuff I had in Mongolia."
Well, then at least you're true to type. There you go. You were a good fermenter, just the wrong thing to be fermenting.
That's right. Okay. Number 2, bad idea, good execution. Yeah. The second part about the kumis is that it was part of the Weird Beer Festival in Portland, and there was a TV reporter there, and she was going around sampling all the weird things, and they were normally weird things. And then she took mine and crossed my heart and hope to die. On my honor, she vomited on live TV. Yeah.
That's the advert.
Yeah, she didn't even drink it. She just smelled it and vomited.
The most unusual milks that no one else will make. Oh my God.
So going to a different culture then, where is the wonderful fermentation of pineapples, the culture?
Right, we're not drinking kumis, we're drinking tepache. So this is a traditional Mexican drink called tepache, and it is made in the pineapple growing regions, Veracruz, a little bit of Michoacan in Mexico. And, Mexico is, our closest neighbor. Canada doesn't count. We basically annexed them. So we have a lot of there's a lot of information sharing back and forth between Mexico and America. So it's very easy to meet a lot of Mexicans who made tepache, drink tepache, or whatever. So it comes around a little bit in American culture. And I worked really hard on this stupid ass recipe. It is such a pain in the butt to make. But we start with whole pineapples, and we source these pineapples from Costa Rica. And the pineapples are a very particular variety. I won't bore you with the details. And we take whole pineapples and grind them up without skinning them. So the skin and the scales is all in there together. The green spiky bit, the crown, gets left behind in the field. But we ferment the pineapple pulp. So it's like fermented pineapple sauce kind of at that point. It's coarser than apples are because it's got all that fibrous stuff in there. And then it ferments wild fermentation. No yeast is added, just whatever yeast is appearing on the outside of the pineapples. And it lasts for about 7 to 10 days. And then we press it. So we're pressing alcoholic pineapple pulp at that point. And then I split it with unfermented tepache. So I do the same sort of grinding thing, but rather than letting it ferment, I dump a bunch of ice in it and stick it in my cooler, my giant walk-in cooler. And then I press both sides together. So the whole product has been sitting on skins for a week. And then they get, so it's half sweet, half alcoholic. So this is low ABV. This is like 4 and something percent. And it's about half, it's quite sweet, but it's about half the sweetness of a pineapple. There's a little bit of cinnamon and cloves and allspice in there, a little bit.
How long did it take to get to that recipe? So for anyone who doesn't know, in the UK, tepache as a drink is essentially made to like drink as fresh as possible, really, isn't it? It's like a quick ferment kind of.
Right, 1 or 2 day type thing.
Yeah. How do you convert something like that into a packaged product that's shelf stable and has this kind of flavor?
The miracle of pasteurization.
Oh, beauty. The one thing I'll say, I thought there was going to be salt in it from the end, the palate, that little kick. It just gets this real nice little salty, savory touch that I was like, oh God.
That's a good point.
But I'm surprised that it tastes good, because I was expecting it to be just sweet pineapple, but the fact that it's dry, green, wild, it's like, and I'm saying that. Grant, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Nice. That's a thumbs up.
He has said much worse.
Do you know? No, I mean, what I was gonna kind of ask, and what I was interested in is, the listening to you talk about what you've done with all three of these ciders. Not obviously the first one not being flavored, but is that there's a process and a attention to detail, and it's not just okay. We'll make a cider and then we'll put some flavoring in it to sell shitloads of it. So I'm interested how you set yourself apart, on a shelf from brands like that who are just kind of flavored sweet ciders.
Yeah.
And how do you bring people in? You don't want to turn people away. You don't want someone to pick this up expecting a sweet pineapple flavored cider, and then to go, oh well, I think all Revnat stuff is not for me.
Well, maybe I should hire you, Grant, because I haven't figured that out, honestly. There are people who say, I don't like anything Reverend Nat makes, and that's fine. Go on. That's fine.
They're usually news reporters.
Yeah. There are a lot of people, and they're my kind of people, who say, I don't drink cider except Reverend Nat's. I think that's really the people that I'm going for. Small pool of people.
I thought you say small people. Like, why does the height of the person pertain to whether they like flavored ciders or not?
That's why you're not selling it.
Just not very many of us. Yeah.
Cider for tall people.
If I wanted to make money, Grant, I would just ferment apple juice concentrate and sugar and back it out with some water and throw some stuff that came in a white bucket in it. But I can't do that.
No, and I guess that's why you you put yourself in quite a difficult position where that those are the people that are probably going to have their eyes caught by your cans, but then are expecting something else. How do you find it? What's the reception right around the US to Reverend Nat?
Well, the cider culture in the United States is quite a bit different from the cider culture in England. There's, you guys have these really, really super low end products.
Thank you.
That we don't really have. Our super low end products are not cider in the United States. They're sort of flavored malt beverages and other things like that. So cider, the word cider, I think has a slightly higher quality connotation in the United States than it does where you guys live.
We call it a high value perception.
Yeah, that
HVP.
What you said. Thanks, marketing man. So I think I'm automatically coming at it with a little bit more price too. Like, I mean, my 6-packs are $12 to $15 on the shelf, which you can get. Angry Orchard, which is legitimately made out of fruit-based ingredients. You can get that for maybe $9 or $8 a 6-pack. That's kind of like the lowest end of real sort of fruit stuff, I guess. So there's already, you can't get anything cheaper than that in the cider category. But also, I don't really care if people don't like my stuff, because that's fine. I literally don't make it for anybody else except me. I don't care. I'm excited that people...
How thirsty are you? Because you're making quite a lot these days.
Every cider that I make has to be something that I really want to drink or has a time and a place for me to enjoy. And as a result, I'm relatively small. I have 3 full-time employees. And maybe we're going to make a little under 100,000 gallons this year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's not small. That's something. You're employing people, You're making cider and coffee in a can.
Yep.
Which the way he says that was so much disdain. I mean, you have to employ more people for the Tepache. I came to visit you a few years ago, and you were, well, not you personally, obviously, but one of your team was there pounding away, trying to extract some of the liquid from the pineapples there. It is a pretty intense thing. I think, Grant, in answer to your question, the nature of flavored ciders in the UK is that they do tend to go down to be this lowest common denominator. But because the USA is just it's a different market that comes from a different kind of route, and with all of the influences, these other things, is that it does provide, the opportunity for flavored ciders not necessarily sort of seen or been presented as an alcopop by any other name, and actually to be interesting drinks with an interesting story and potentially with real integrity if it's made in a way that makes the cider maker lose lots of money, which is obviously the route that Nat has gone down here, which is, that Venn diagram coming to its conclusion. It's brilliant.
Oh, well, I was going to ask you basically, when I started drinking beer in the UK, Dogfish Head Brewery were like this super inventive, wild, Buccaneer crazy kind of thing. And I guess now with a lot of like the Swedish breweries and that kind of change to, there's a lot of like breakfast stouts and basically recipe led madness. Is there anyone in the US that's doing cider? I know you've said no one else will make these on the can, but are there anyone else that's trying similar things in similar ways that you've got an eye on or that you've collaborated with or anything?
Yeah, there's definitely, you can't go to any supermarket anywhere in the United States, and no matter what region you're in, and not find flavored ciders on the shelf. Flavored ciders really dominate as a collective. Apple flavored ciders are still the single greatest flavor of cider in the U.S., but all other flavors combined are bigger than apple. So people are always hunting for new flavors. So everyone's doing them, but I think the difficulty that I always face is in the execution. So if, for instance, we're making this passion fruit cider right now, and I make it every few years. It's called The Passion. It's kind of a joke there.
It's a great joke.
Do I need to spell it out for you guys?
Joke there.
Okay. So it's called The Passion.
There's that Wi-Fi delay kicking in.
Yeah.
Good point. We are across the world. So the Passion has passion fruit juice, duh, and it has coconut and some vanilla in it. And the passion fruit is actually a relatively commoditized ingredient. It's not that hard to get. All passion fruit basically tastes the same, give or take. Like passion fruit people are going to storm my house tomorrow, but coconut's actually really, really different. Coconut A versus coconut B. And so a normal cider maker would be like, passion fruit. And then they'd be like, oh, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we put coconut in it? And then they just go like, get some coconut and put it in there and be like, yeah, this is our passion fruit coconut cider. But I have rejected like 3 different coconuts that have come in recently. And I just can't find a coconut that I like. So we're considering not making it, the passion this year, because I just can't. Everything's sources have changed. Suppliers have changed during COVID, so my old suppliers are really hard to get a hold of. So there are things that I just won't make because I don't. The quality of the ingredients, the flavors of the ingredients are not there, or I can't access them, or I want them to be at a particular price and I can't do it. So, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Tell us what is next. Then you've told us the passion's not coming. What's coming for Reverend Nat next over the next few months in the next year or so? What are we going to see coming out of your cidery?
Sure. I actually just kicked off 2 new labels to the printers yesterday.
One is kangaroo milk cider.
Please, for the love
Scott,
of God, tell me that you found a kangaroo and you milked it.
I mean, who can get kangaroo milk? If you can get it, let me know, man.
Hey, you want kangaroo milk? I can get you kangaroo milk. I can get you in 10 minutes. Just a phone call away. Like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So every year, Tepache, when we're drinking right now, it blends really, really well. So I really encourage people to blend it with beer when they're consuming it. 50-50 or maybe 75% beer, 25% Tepache, depending on how you feel. It's traditionally consumed with beer in Mexico. And what I've found is that Tepache goes really well, not just with beer, but with all kinds of other flavors. And so every year when I make Tepache, I also make a flavored Tepache, which is just like super annoying to you, Grant, that it's a flavored cider that's flavored.
A flavored cider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me.
So last year, I did a collaboration for this flavored tepache with a Mexican culinary guy here in Portland, and we did this tamarind liquid smoke chili tepache, which was really good. And then this year we're doing a lime watermelon orange tepache called Loquita Fresca, and that comes out in a few weeks. And that's in the tent show series, so super hard to get, like making 150 cases of it or something. And then the next one that I have coming up after that is this amazing cider called No Justice, No Peach. And for those of you guys who aren't in the up on the American protest scene, No Justice, No Peace is a common shout when you're protesting for whatever injustices that may be out there.
Take your pick. There's a few to go from, so just
yeah.
as
And Portland is kind of a historical hotbed of protests. We protest for anything that's coming around here, and I've been moderately involved in the protest scene the last few years in Portland. And this cider is a peach cider that doesn't have any peaches in it, so you'll love it, Grant. It doesn't. It tastes like peaches, but has no peaches in it whatsoever. And the only 3 ingredients in there: cider, oak. I age it on oak chips, and a very particular variety of hops. And the way that we manipulate the yeast and the way that we use the oaks and the hops together all create an unmistakable peach aroma and flavor. And there's no peaches in it. And that particular product is actually we're donating 100% of the profits to local social justice organizations. So
bravo.
Those are some stuff that's coming up in the future.
Amazing. I had just a quick question for you. Although your ciders might be the result of a lot of sort of hyper local influence from beer and other different things, the influence of Reverend Nat actually goes quite a long way. I know that you have a link up with those wonderful boys, the Son of the Smith hard cider from Nagano Prefecture in Japan.
I'm seeing them next month.
You're going there next month?
No, they're coming here.
Ah, amazing. How did that hookup start?
We've been selling in Japan for the last maybe, 8 years or so like that. It's just super random. Importer came to Portland and was like, hey, I'm here to bring a bunch of beers to Japan. And all the breweries that I go to say that you should go see Reverend Nat's. And so we started selling there. I was like, yeah, sure, you can buy a pallet. I don't really care. And it's turned into this really good relationship that's lasted for many years. And I met, a lot of really amazing cider makers in Japan. And I have a really strong relationship with the Nagano boys, I call them, Son of the Smith. They're orchardists and cider makers, and they've started a brand a couple of years back. And the ciders are pretty darn good. There's some super weird laws in Japan about what makes a cider. So they're dealing with, they're really crippled on what they can make, but what they're able to make is really fantastic. But beyond Japan, I've met people all around the world. I've early on in my cider making growth, I published a few sort of very DIY level, how to make a counter pressure bottle filler, how to make a pasteurizer, how to pasteurize stuff, how to run a filter on a small scale. And if you Google a lot of these small scale cider making topics, I'll show up kind of first page. I've since moved on from a lot of that stuff, but it's sort of endeared me amongst a lot of cider making startup cider making community around the world.
Well, it has, even as far as Zimbabwe. My partner Jules is from Zim, and we were out there in February, and we got to meet Marvin, who's from Nyanga Craft Cider, Zimbabwe's only cider maker, and
Zimbabwe's best cider,
and Zimbabwe's finest cider maker,
and their worst as well. That's the real.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Come on.
And most
Do we know that
mediocre.
for sure?
Yeah.
Have we tried them all?
And he's not got access, obviously, to zero resource. There is nothing for him there except
very DIY
the internet. And so he says that he's seen every single video that there is on YouTube pertaining to how to make cider, and that he basically learned how to make cider from your videos.
Yes.
And well, I can report that he is an excellent cider maker. They're really, really good.
Perfect.
And he makes a particularly good pineapple cider from locally
Yes.
grown pineapples.
I've traded since you introduced me to him, Gabe. We've traded a bunch of we're WhatsApp besties right now, and he's asking me questions, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to help him out, and it's
Good
so
for you,
exciting.
man.
It's he's doing things in his building that look exactly like where I was 10 years ago in my garage. So it's there's really no. The world is very small in that.
Was
point, you know?
your grandmother crushing the apples though, or did?
No, I had my 3-year-old.
Okay, so well, just
very
The other side.
It's similar, very similar.
same idea, just different generation. So no,
Yeah,
it's part of the wondrous, global nature of where we are with the world of cider now. That it does really seem that it's sort of coming ever closer together, and that's why it's such a fantastic opportunity to have a chat with you and to learn and to taste all these different things. Chaps, what are we saying? Favorite cider for tonight? What do you reckon? I think we're all on to drinking this one, aren't we?
Yeah, well, my glass
Cider
is
for my family.
jet
Yeah.
black.
Yeah, so is mine.
Hopped Vimto is
Hopped
what I've got.
Vimto. There you go. Do you have any idea what Vimto is, Nat?
It's probably
Quite like
really
this.
disgusting.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No,
No.
It's a specific
it's a kinda-
squash here. Is it squash in
Grape-based
America?
soda.
Vimto.
It's like a grape-based fruit soda.
Cordial. I don't know the term.
Well,
in
it's
the
not
US.
It's not a cordial. It's
not
like
cordial.
Vimto
Sparkling.
comes as cordial. You can
This
get it as
comes
cordial.
as
though.
both, but it started as a soda.
It's a
I
bit
would
like
say,
Dr.
in the-
Pepper, but a bit fruitier.
I'll look some. I'll
Ish.
buy some on Amazon.
Yeah, and then I'll get my commission when you make Vimto cider in a year's time. That'll be it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll reach
Yeah,
out to you to develop the recipe.
To be honest, I can't pick between them because they're all so different that I don't think they're comparable in any way. So I'm like, I've literally been switching back and forth. And the Revival, because it was the closest thing I know to what I normally drink. But the other two, I'm like, I've had Tapache that's like fresher, but I could crush a can of that. So
Right.
well done from me, even though Grant
I've
is
had
looking at me
fresher
shaking his head.
Tapache.
No, but as in,
I've had fresher Tapache.
no, but it's,
Wherever I
there's,
live.
there's a
I'm just
brewery
back
near.
from Mexico, don't you know?
Yeah. Ooh,
That's where I
local.
holiday.
but the only reason
I'm
I know
already
of
saving
it,
up to go back.
the only reason I know about it is because there's a brewery in Somerset called Wild Beer, and they did a beer that's inspired by it. And I was chasing it like I have no idea what the reference is for this, so we had to make it to find out. So I've earned the right to say Tapache, Grant. So.
Okay, fine. On you go.
Just going back to, I forgot what it's called, cider for my family. It tastes to me like Duchesse de Bourgogne, that crazy sour beer
Oh,
before
the Duchess,
it's
yeah.
gone sour. So like that's what it would have been like.
That's an impossibility in America. Yeah.
That's what I imagine that the Duchesse tastes like before it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
sugary Flanders red.
Yeah, for me, it's a bit too far. It is just balsamic vinegar, but that's another fight for another day with the weird beard head. So there we go. Anyway, now thank you for joining us here at the
Thanks,
Neutral
man,
Cider
yeah.
Hotel. But people who come into the hotel, they don't normally bring many ciders with them.
They bring more usually. It's
Well, yeah.
a light loan.
He's being better now. It's
And what do you guys have on tap usually in the Cider Hotel bar?
Well,
Strongbow
oddly,
dark fruit.
Yeah, just
Oh,
just
great.
the top.
Sweet.
Vimto
Love it.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That's what this is basically Strongbow Dark Fruit, right?
Thank you, my friend, for joining us here. Before we let you go, please do let us know where people can find you online and if there is any final things you would like to gratuitously plug.
Yeah, we you can just hit Reverend Nats online, just Google it or whatever. We show up everywhere. We also offer nearly nationwide shipping. If you happen to be in the United States of America, 42 states, you can get. No, you can't get cider for my family. That one is sold out.
Oh. Which states don't you ship to?
It's I don't know, whatever. 42. That's most of them.
That's quite a lot. But like, is there a reason why there's 8 that you don't like them? You don't like the people? What's the deal?
No. It's like every state in the United States has their own alcohol laws. So like Oklahoma or something. Oof. I don't really know. It's people. No one's going to want to buy in those 8 states except Michigan. Michigan has some weird alcohol.
Nobody in
laws that
Oklahoma wants to buy your cider. Oh,
well, they
wow.
want to, but they've been trained not to.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Just check us out if you're in the United States and you want to get some of these delicious products. Otherwise, you'll have to maybe find somebody overseas who occasionally gets dropped. We do actually sell a little bit in Vienna. If you happen to be taking a holiday into Vienna, we're available there. I ship somewhat regularly to a few places there.
Okay.
Wow.
We need to find you an importer distributor over here to get your fine wares more readily available.
Well, let's have that another conversation about that next month on Neutral Cider Hotel. The obscurity of international alcohol laws.
Yeah, it's great. We have had slightly duller topics.
Don't worry.
Almost weekly.
Yeah.
We do it almost weekly.
Yeah.
Normally it's just domestic tax. Nat, thank you, my friend, for joining us here at the hotel. It's been a blast.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers to you. Wassail.
All right, cheers, guys.
And hopefully we'll catch up sometime soon. Cheers, my friend.
Very soon.
Well, there we go, chaps. That's our chat and tasting with Reverend Nat. What do we think about these drinks now that he's not here? Is there anything? We weren't
totally honest before.
Is there anything, Grant, that you want to be really honest about?
No, I after having a conversation with him, I respect that there's a process to everything he does, and a certain amount of skill. I would still argue that not everything he makes is cider. My personal favorite out of the three was the apple one.
The cider.
The cider, yeah, not the tapache or whatever you call it, Martin. You'll be able to tell me.
The T and the P are silent, so it's issue.
So the
Sounds like you're sneezing.
I genuinely really enjoyed the apple one because I thought and I'm not really one for a hop cider, but I thought the hops are lovely and
it's clever.
Belgian yeast clearly brought something nice to it as well. And I would have a can of that. The wine one, yeah. I mean, it just seems weird to me to be like, oh, I'm going to be a cider maker, and then I'm going to try and replicate all these other drinks that aren't cider.
But he's in the house of he's where he's from. Portland is like one of the meccas of beer, and as a recipe-led process, it's that kind of borrowed understanding of fermentation, isn't it? So, like the apple juice component is a ingredient rather than like the wine-like approach of the single fermentation.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. But then he kind of started the interview saying that cider's all about the place and the fruit and where it comes from, and that is one story. And I think I don't disrespect either side of it. It just. Yeah, that Portland style revival hard apple, brilliant, and that tells that exact story. The Tapache does not, and neither does the cider with wine.
I think as a fan of rap rock, I like the fusion of cultures,
the hybrid.
I just feel that you're missing something here, as someone who doesn't listen to Limp Bizkit every day.
Do you like going to those?
Not every day, but these are not everyday drinks either. You know,
no,
that's it. I don't know. I mean, I was, and you know, like I said in the interview as well, I imagine he has a struggle trying to set himself apart from the you know, less labor intensive, less interesting flavored ciders that are out there. But I still don't get it.
Well, I'm not sure that he does, again, because of the nature of the US category. But because those flavored ciders that are like alco pops, that obviously they're there in the USA, but the nature or the attitude and approach towards them in the US is different to over here. There are producers, maybe not all to the great extent that Nat is in terms of the intensity and quality of the raw materials, but there are lots of people who are making flavored ciders with real flavors, with real fruit, with real hops and things like that. So just the opportunity for this type of product, and let's be fair, you know, I love talking about it. The duty landscape does facilitate these ciders.
My God.
Hear me out. Hear me out. 6.9% on the with the grapevine, and with the revival hard apple, which has some hop in there, 6%. The Tepache that's a bit lower at 4.4%. But these are all drinks which are currently not economically viable at that alcohol in that intensity because of the nature of the way that these drinks are taxed in a UK environment. So we don't have these, and you heard Nat say that he would love to import them over here, but they're just not economically viable. So there's just such a difference in the nature of the cultures and the markets and the taxation system that means the approaches are so different.
Gabe, do you think there's a market for those kind of ciders over in the UK, or do you think it's very American and it's probably more specific to America for the market?
We got them with beer.
I was going to say these types of drinks would interest those types of beer drinkers, and it would set their gaze towards cider. So I genuinely think that it could have an advantage. Once again, cider's great opportunity and great challenge is that it can be so crazily diverse from the beautiful terroir variety driven styles of cider presented like wines and to be drunk on wine occasions, to these things which are very strongly rooted in that beer camp. And so the challenge component is that what is cider? Well, it can be all the way from this to Wildling, Little Pomona, etc., that we've all talked and tasted and loved.
Who?
There's these upstarts from Herefordshire and Somerset. So it's I would say advantageous. Gosh, how amazing is cider that it can do all of these different things? But I totally understand that within that amazing spectrum, there's going to be some that people are going to really enjoy and some people aren't, and that's fair enough. But we can't even have the opportunity to present these to people yet because it's cider and the lack of value perception that's attracted to it, that people aren't willing to spend more money for these drinks, even if the tax was easy for and the importation cost. Grant, you don't need me to tell you the challenges of doing this, that trying to get people to spend money on cans of cider and spend over maybe £4 or £5 or whatever it is because it's an interesting international drink. That's really tough because it's got the word cider attached to it rather than beer. So it's a continuous kind of process. But hopefully, we will get there.
Minimum juice content as well. Yeah.
Let's not even start there. That's probably a good point to wrap up the conversation. Big thanks to Nat once again for coming on and for tasting and for really, being engaged and wanting to participate. He doesn't shy away from it. And we heard him, he'd love to come back. So maybe we'll get a mega session with him and Little Pomona on and see all the greatest hits. All right, that wraps up our chat with Reverend Nat. Next up, I've got a special game for my dear friends. Let's see what it's all about. And finally, to wrap up this week's show, I have devised a little game. Well, I say game. It's more a bit of fun and insight around a cider competition that I participated in, because we are in the competition season. I think we talked about this as part of the news for a previous show, that in May and in June in the UK, and I think in lots of different places, these competitions happen, tasting the best of the last autumn's ciders. And there's lots of different events. In the UK, the Three Counties Show is happening imminently. The Royal Bath and West Show has just happened. But the one that is closest to my heart is it's at the Big Apple, the Putley Cider Trials, and it is as quaint and quintessentially British as you can get, because if you enter into a category, you as a cider maker get to have a vote. So imagine a little village hall on a Saturday afternoon filled with slightly sweaty men, beardy men, tasting all of these ciders and sort of elbows and sort of just having a taste and having a jolly good time. And you enter into the dry, the medium, or the sweet of the cider, or the perry, and it's draft. You've pulled it straight out of the barrel or the container, and it goes into a demijohn, like a glass flagon type thing. And you put a little label on, and then you hand in your entry, and the people who organize it, they take off the label, and then it sort of anonymizes it. So you're in this judging scenario, and you're faced with, in the category that I was judging, 20 different ciders, all slightly different sort of colors and clarities, and obviously different aromas and tastes. And your job as a participant and a judge is to award. You got the opportunity to vote for 3 different ciders, and so you can vote for those, and you can put a star against the one that you like the best. Now, the single most important thing to consider when you're judging is, where is my cider? And I am going to vote for it. That naturally is what you're going to do. So my brother and I, and also joined by the wonderful Robbie Honda from Tanuki Cider, was also in the UK, and he entered his cider into this as well. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And so we tasted our way through circa 20 different ciders, and like, no, that's not very good. That's all right, but it's not ours. This is the cider. It looks like ours. It smells like ours. It tastes great. It tastes like ours. It's ours. Vote for it. Extra star. Win. Done. Obviously, everybody else is going to do the same. And when they read out the results, in third place, not us. In second place, not us. Oh, have we got first? In first place? No, not us. It's like, okay. Then they publish the full set of results. And so what you're doing when you're tasting, when you're judging, is you write down the code, the number, and then some descriptors next to it to help guide you in your final conclusion of judging. So we then cross-referenced, what did we, so we didn't win, we didn't vote for our own cider. So what did we say about our own cider unwittingly? And that's what this little game is all about. I've just sent you in the chat, chaps, the screen grab of all of the descriptors of the cider in that category, and one of them is ours. Now, I'm going to read these out for the benefit of the listeners. All I need you to do is to have a guess as to which one was mine, and see if you get it. So here is what my brother, in his increasingly inebriated state, wrote for each cider. 201 was like 320. I've got no idea what 320 was like. 202, bad mojito. 203, orange cordial meh. 204, acid. 205, dentist cider. 206, baby vom. 208, nice easy drinker. 209, itchy and scratchy. 210, yogurt bomb. 211, young conservative. 212, flat tire. 213, soapy boy. 214, pencil shavings. 2015, grippy boy. 216, TCP. 217, sausage. And 220 is @ symbol, exclamation mark, $ up hat. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that meant.
Now,
so
first question, Gabe.
Yes.
3 of these, sorry, can't count,
yes,
have an asterisk next to them. And you working with that information as well, or is that just...
So I can tell you that those were the 3 that we thought were the best, until we found, which you can see that 218 isn't on there. It got lost on the table, or we were a little bit too tiddly to find it. That was the one that we actually thought was ours and we voted for. So that wasn't as part of this list. We just sort of discarded this list when we found it. So I can't remember which 2 of those 3 we voted for along with 218. But suffice to say that 208, nice easy drinker, as it says. So of all of those descriptions, given that we didn't come in the top 3, which one do you think was the cider that my brother and I made?
I can
we each get a guess, yeah?
Have a guess. So Scott, let's come to you first of all. Which one do you think?
There's a couple that I would lean to, but for comedy's sake, I have to take 217 sausage.
Yeah, you went straight for the sausage. I mean, it's a smart answer because I do have sausage previous, obviously. So that's okay. I will log your answer as 217 sausage. Grant, what are you saying, my friend?
For comedy value again, alongside Scott, I'm going to have to go for 211 Young Conservative. I'm not sure why, but yeah.
Okay. Answer logged. Martin, what say you?
Well, I mean, you've kind of taken me to third peg here. So for comedy's sake, it's definitely 217. It can't be anything else. But I'm going to say dentist cider 205. I just think that's a visual, like the thing that they give you that tastes like that, or it is like a dentist would make cider. I don't want your description of it. I just want you to know I love the imagery.
Thank you. And I can't take any credit for this. This is my brother, Alex. He managed to distill obviously quite a lengthy and laborious description from myself about the nature of the cider and condensed it into 2 words or 3 words possibly. So bravo, Alex. Well done. Well, I can tell you that none of you are correct.
No,
None of you
the
are
sausage.
Correct. It wasn't the sausage.
I had a backup.
Yeah, let's do backups real quick.
Okay, backups. Jeez. Okay.
My backup is
baby vom.
You both went for baby.
I'm going to go thin flat tire.
Well, I can say that baby vom is incorrect. I can also say that thin flat tire is precisely what we described our cider.
I get 2.5 points.
I mean, congratulations,
No,
Martin.
0.25 points.
Thin flat tire. Did you when you got the sausage? You were like, yes, I've got it. I know which one it is.
Well, no, because it didn't taste sausagey. That was a one-time thing with a Perry fermenting on the beer yeast.
Your sausage Perry is legendary. Let's be honest.
I mean,
like that's what people want out of you.
There are several cases of it still left, and we did have a taste, and it is desausaging quite nicely. Okay. It's just getting more herbal, should we say, like a Ricola cough sweet, a bit down that route. But you know,
wow.
It apparently to us tasted like a thin flat tire. Joy of joys that we've made 100 liters of it then, isn't it? My brother spent 2 weekends bottling it. Now we are hoping that it just needs a little bit of time to mature. Unlike any cider that I've made before, we used loads of acid-driven apples, some Stoke Red, some Kingston Black, a little bit of Dimmock Red in there. So it's really zingy. So I think it just needs a little bit of time to mellow out. That's what it's all about.
Can't wait.
If you were to make it again, what would you do to like kind of pump up the recipe and give it some like just some good air?
Oh, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. Yeah, I don't know how to retort quickly. So
we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
I put a bandage on it, Martin. That's what I do. And I bike out of here.
Oh, dear. Go and see the dentist. All right, everybody. That's it for this week's game. That's it for this week's episode as well. A big thanks once again to Nat West from Reverend Nat Cider coming on and having a fantastic chat with us. An amazing conversation. What a chap. And you, our lovely listeners, thank you for continuing to participate in this amazing Neutral Cider Hotel journey. And if you enjoy our podcast and want to help, please do spread the word about the Neutral Cider Hotel. Tell your friends about it and encourage them to listen. You can also follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5-star reviews are very much appreciated, and your reviews really do help us out. Also, please find and follow us on the social. We're at Neutral Cider Hotel on Insta and Facebook, Neutral Cider Pod on Twitter. As always, you can visit us on our website to listen online or share episode at neutralciderhotel.com. Also, check out our YouTube page as we're starting to post videos of our shows very soon. Lastly, please reach out and leave us a voicemail message with your questions or comments or, gout cures at speakpipe.com/Neutral Cider Hotel. Everything helps, Grant, and will be much appreciative, I'm sure.
Please.
But until next time, Thank you. Stay safe. Much love. Thanks for listening, and wassail!